So
It's down on that land. I recognize the land, but the shipping container thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
And who was the guy?
And I don't know.
Dude, that's creepy.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, Leo sent me Tribe, and this 2025 found footage film was directed by Dan Asma and stars Ray Buffer, Nicole Jones, and Tanya Bowman, among others, of course. And so what is the story of Tribe? Well, with this one, it's about this retired professor of photography, and I guess his friend dies or something like that, and so he inherits these cassette tapes and VHS tapes and whatever type of tapes he can play. So he starts playing them from his friend, and then there's this mystery with the tapes. Like, what the heck is going on with these tapes? And so it turns out that his friend was part of some weird religious church way out in the mountains. And so he goes out there to find this church, but he ends up finding this like shipping container, and there seems to be some creature living in it. And that was actually in the tapes as well. And so what is going on? What is this mystery all about? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss Tribe. Well, with this one, what can we say that, it does well? With this one, I'm not the biggest found footage fan. Of course, I'll watch them if, Leo sends them to me, but I'm not actively going out to find, found footage. And with this one, I thought with this one, the found footage, like the reason that they're filming was decent enough. Like, he's a photographer or, professor of photography, so he's into cameras and stuff like that. We actually see him kind of creating a YouTube channel to, start off with, and just to, review or at least, critique different camera models or lenses or something like that. And so he's kind of this, documentarian. And then once he gets these tapes and actually watches the tapes and figures out, what's going on with them, then he's like, all right, I just got to record everything. I'm recording this for, prosperity. We got to figure what's going on. And so he has this kind of natural reason to be filming for, an undescribed audience in this one. And so, that certainly works, I thought. I thought with the filming itself, it's all very crisp, clear and stuff. But after all, if he's a professor of photography, you would imagine all of that's, primo stuff for him. What else? With this one, the whole story about his friend and what his friend believes and where's this church and what's going on with this church and all that different type of stuff is certainly a rabbit hole that I enjoyed going down, to tell you the truth. Like, I thought it was interesting. And is it aliens or is it, God or angels or something like that? Like, what is really going on with this one? And so I thought with kind of, the main reason of getting into this movie, for an audience member, was set up well enough that you really get into it, at least to start off with, certainly. Also, with this movie, it has touches of CGI here or there. Certainly, they've incorporated this, monster into his filming technique and how that's kind of, in the film, I thought was really interesting. And then there's a lot of stuff kind of at the end that involves CGI, and I thought it was all really well done. And so there's this kind of, touches of digital enhancement here or there that I certainly think, make it better for sure. And overall, it certainly has this creepy feeling to it. Certainly, at nighttime with his night cameras going off and things like that, and just the whole mystery of, what's going on with this shipping container and its occupants, all very kind of creepy, especially, when they're doing night stuff. It adds that, intensity. And they have a few jump scares here or there that I gotta say did make me jump. I was not expecting it. But yeah, it has this kind of creepy vibe throughout the whole thing too. So yeah, it certainly, works for what it's going for. And I think my last point in at least this section is kind of that presentation that it's going for. With this one, he is kind of a blogger, so everything is kind of pre-edited for the audience, so nothing is kind of like a continuous one. So I do like the idea that, he's filming it and then going back to his camper and editing it for, future whoever to watch. And so that I thought was, interesting, but I think it makes it for a good kind of just narrative style. Like, it has that vlog element to it where, he's standing, 30 feet back from a camera, or he's filming himself with a drone or that type of stuff. So it does have that kind of vlog, polished, edited feeling to all of the found footage, but I did imagine him, editing it together at night. So I don't know. It was just a good way, I think, to present the narrative that, it's really allowed me to get into it. And as for what doesn't work with this one, well, I know I just talked about the editing, but the caveat to the editing is that everything is edited. Like, he gets these, 30, 40-year-old VHSs, and they're even edited in this way as well, where they're jumping back and forth from, like, some party and then go into some church and then back to the party and then to the shipping container or whatever. And so there is this element to it all where it's like, how is everybody getting these edited films? Like, it certainly is good, I think, for 2025. Like, just a regular audience member would like this kind of presentation. But I imagine, like, if you're a hardcore found footage enthusiast, like, this is probably not what you want. Like, edited things together. Like I said before, I imagined him just going into his camper and editing them at night. But it does kind of throw you off, I would say. It certainly was not what I was expecting for a found footage film. Even towards the end, I would say they also forget that found footage element to it. Like, something happens and they go somewhere and then it's just no cameras around. But we're still watching it. We're still seeing what's going on. They do kind of have an explanation, but at the same time, it seems like it just doesn't quite match up to, other things that they've, previously talked about or previously, put into the movie. And so it does forget that as well. And I would say, 2025, it's probably a great movie for a general audience, but for hardcore found footage fans, this is probably not going to be your cup of tea unless, well, check it out. Like, see if you like the editing aspect. Like, that was certainly the hardest thing to kind of wrap my mind around. Like, how is that happening? But, it's in there. It's certainly something to talk about. And who knows? It might even be a sign of the times to come. So, yeah. And what else? With this movie, I have no idea why it's called Tribe. They don't say that word at all. It's not even like a group of people, too. It's like one guy in his camper. He has an ex-wife and a dead friend, and that's really it. And sometimes other people come in, but, like, why call it Tribe? Like, that really did not make sense to me. And that just also, I think, took away from the experience as well. Like, at the end, like, why Tribe? Like, what was the thought process behind that? Anyways, yeah, that was certainly something that was just kind of bothering me by the end. As for a recommendation, well, if you want to watch something creepy, yeah, sure. It's creepy enough to watch. Certainly if you like found footage stuff, I would say press play on this one. And yeah, that's my recommendation. As for rating, well, I'm going to give it the 5.6, which is better than average, but not above average, if that makes sense. And of course, this is, coming from not a found footage enthusiast, so I did just enjoy it for what it was. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.